Hey guys, welcome to Arcane Duels. I'm Koshade, and we're here at the end of day one of GenCon 2015, and I'm here with Shadow, a very prevalent member of the Arcane Wonders community. Shadow, how's it going?
It's going good. I didn't make it in the finals, but overall the tournament was good.
How did you feel you played? How did you feel other people played? What kind of mage did you play?
Well, I started with Earth Wizard Control. So the first round I was playing against a Straywood Swarm build, and I'm playing hard mana suppression. I just ate him alive. The match was over in literally 36 minutes. Wow. So I go to round two, I'm playing Jakari Buddy Rush.
Was that severe play?
Yeah, that was, yes. He opens with severe and rouses on turn one. So I lock him down from that point on. He never can keep up with what I'm doing because he's focused between the buddy and himself. At one point, he goes to go enchant severe, and I wall him in with a golem and a jelly.
That's awesome. So I know you were saying like you felt like you had some misplays earlier. Like what had happened exactly?
Well, that brings us to round three. I ended up playing Tim in round three. Some of you guys know him, some of you guys don't from the forums. Yeah, I had 23 mana available as a wizard. So I was supposed to prep for one line of play, and I wasn't paying attention, rushed, and ended up not making a single play that round. So I basically gave Tim a free turn. So now I'm off by an entire turn. He Wall of Thorns, force pushes me, cuts me in half. On the following round, by not prepping right, I end up at 1 health left because I had gotten him the turn. So that was entirely my play mistake. The round lasted another 3 or 4 turns, but I was on back foot the entire time. I'm not going to catch up.
And I know we played 5 games today, so what did your other games feel like?
Round 4 ended up being against, I believe it was another wizard, was the round. And I ended up, Earth Wizard, but more aggro-based. So like hurl boulders and stuff like that. So it was a good back and forth game for a while. And then at one point, I made a misplay. And then the other thing, it was Force Master. And the big thing I did was I had a suppression cloak down from a Battle Forge. I never charged him for all of his melee attacks. And since I'm playing hard mana suppression.
And this was round, 4 or 5? Yeah, so we've been playing for 4 games straight. So I understand why you had a brain fart, because it's very hard to keep up with all this.
At this point, we figured it was 12 to 14 mana. At one point, he did use his Stalker, and he attacks with the Stalker. I had my quick cast up for end of round. So I have right now a Mordok's down, Suppression Orb down. I have him under a Mana Siphon, and now that it's visible, I Essence Drain it. So he's like, I can't pay these taxes for this.
Tax man.
And he's like, okay, I'll have to let this die. And then that game was back and forth for a while. And then, like I said, I made the mistake. It ended up costing me that one. So we go to round 5. I ended up playing against Jakari Shotgun.
Oh, like double enchantment, run at you, just do a bunch of attack spells, stuff
Hawkeye,
like that.
hurl boulders, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I ended up winning that game. But for a while there, he had me down. I was at 21 of the Wizard's base health by turn 4. Well, I ended up locking him in. He ends up playing Eagle Claw, comes over the wall, and then he's facing down a jelly, 2 gargoyles, and something else. And
just kind of sucked him up there.
Yeah. Oh, Wizard's Tower's obviously down at this point. So literally, he's just playing all my free actions versus all his single guy. I've got 1 action around, what am I going to do? So I ended up winning 1, 2, well before time. I lost due to misplays on 3 and 4, and then won 5 well before time.
Man, that sounds awesome. So let me ask you a question. Sure. So we know the top 4 right now. It's 3 wizards and a priestess. Is it 2 wizards and a priestess?
And I think a Force Master or something.
Something else? Oh no, I think it is a Force Master. Yeah.
It's not wizard.
It's not wizard. How do you feel about that being the final? Do you think that's an appropriate representation of what Mage Wars is, or do you think that's I mean, I know we had like 7 wizards in this, so it makes sense that more of them made top 8. I don't know. What are your feelings on that?
Well, really what it comes down to is like, if I don't misplay against him, it's one of the 2 wizards here. So that fills that wizard slot.
That's why Tim
Right.
you pretty much.
It's this, he's playing more aggressive, I'm playing more controlling, but it's still a wizard in that slot.
Exactly.
And the wizard's toolbox. So then if I don't misplay against the Force Master, that's the Force Master who made it in. So then if I beat that Force Master, and it's now 3 wizards and a priestess in that spot.
That's crazy.
That's some crazy stuff. Yeah, exactly. I guess is there anything else you want to talk about the tournament?
I mean, I can go over a few other things. All in all, the tournament was good. It was a good experience. I don't get to play too often outside of playtest things.
Because you usually ref these tournaments. So is this your first time in an actual tournament here?
This is the first time they actually let me play.
That's fair.
Like one of the rounds, I was playing against a guy who constantly read all the stuff I post on the forums and stuff like that, and he's like, "Oh, now I see how you understand the game." At one point, I'm playing, and I prep a wall of earth, and I had 1 wall of earth on his side. He's like, well, I'm just going to prep all these shotgun spells. I'm going to shoot you. And I'm like, I've got quick cast wall you in. Now you're dealing with 2 jellies. And he's like, well, I lose here. What am I going to do? But the big thing is, all in all, I mean, the game's fairly balanced. The wizard, it's just because of the toolbox he has access to. It just makes him one of the hardest mages to deal with.
I've actually wondered if he's like one of the most explored mages, and if that's why he's doing so well, or maybe he's just like has a natural advantage that he's easier to learn. Maybe I don't know.
My favorite 2 mages to play, and they're actually probably 2 of the best mages right now, are Druid and Wizard, because they both have an extensive toolbox.
Those are awesome. Yeah,
I absolutely agree with you on that.
If you look at Druid's toolbox, almost anything you can do in Arcane, you can do in Nature.
If you had to rework one of the mages, whether it's too weak or too strong, which one would it be?
Well, obviously the Warlord.
The Warlord?
Bloodwave?
Actually, the original Warlord.
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
What was that?
That is-
Bloodwave.
Yeah, Anvil Throne, yeah.
It came down to a few decisions that were made in the final weeks before it went to print.
Yeah.
That was the big thing that hurt the Warlord. So now I want PVS to come out, because I've got that whole toolbox that we've been working on to try and bring the Warlord back up.
With Forged in Fire, I was actually really impressed with the tools that he got from that.
We ended up doing a vote because we were looking at another wizard and something else, Forged in Fire, those 2 mages, and then 2 more mages. So we had 6 mages up.
I see.
And we ended up doing a vote. And the one thing was, to all the play testers, anyone who does design work, anyone who does any of that stuff, who needs the most work? It was like 90% Warlord.
This guy.
Exactly. So now we just had to figure who's going to be against the Warlord. Well, we had a design article for a mage that used an alternate resource. So if you look at the new Warlock, her alternate resource is burn.
And she does it very well, yeah.
But if you look at it, she spends burn tokens, she places burn tokens. Everything's about
Get them easier.
Right. We actually wrote an entire design article with Brian and everyone about creating this alternate mechanic based around manipulating burn. Her big job was to slow down Druid builds, but then she's going to have trouble with wizards and stuff like that.
I see.
Come Siren, she's going to be one of the hardest mages to play against, because she's going to be all burn-based and the Siren's going to be all water-based.
It's like,
What's going to happen? Are you going to have the burns or not have the burns kind of thing? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's a big thing, because you got all the water, you got all this extinguish, you got all of this. The Siren, right now we're looking at possibly curses, possibly songs, water, something else.
oh, that'd be so cool.
And the other thing we want to look at is possible terrain.
Yeah, I've heard about some of the terrain stuff. That's
Yeah.
pretty neat.
So what we basically have is there's 5 or 6 files of everyone who had ideas
That's really
about Siren. I wrote up 2 files that I sent to Brian. Brian has his own file, Aaron has a file, and there's a few that are a culmination of all the play testers, everyone. And we're these are where we want the Siren to go. Now we have to decide where's the core, what we're going to do. Brian has to say, well, what's my spin on this? And then we have to go through and get our cards for testing. So we've selected some of those cards, but now it's going through, because when you do a set, you don't say, this is our set, let's go, this is what we're testing.
Yeah.
So if you have like a 25 card set, you're testing about 75, 80 cards.
Yeah.
So
That's some pretty interesting insight to that whole thing. I'm actually really excited to see Paladin versus Siren. Anyway, so thank you so much, Shadow. I really appreciate you being here. You're an awesome contribution to the Mage Wars community. Check out the rest of the videos for Mage Wars GenCon 2015. Thank you again, Shadow. Much appreciated. Want to say anything else?
you guys have a great show for everyone who's here, and for all of you, everyone who's not. We missed you. You guys should come and play next time.
Come check it out, GenCon 2016 or 17, whenever you're watching this video. Take care.